Chapter 1. After paying respects to my mother alone, I found a used condom in the bedroom trash can. My wife, Ying, and I had been married for 3 years, but we had already spent 2 years without a physical relationship. I was about to call her to confront her when I saw a post from her assistant on social media. "Last night's passionate you is the best birthday gift I've ever received." The photo showed Ying and Zhang Shuyuan kissing intimately in Central Square. I smiled, closed my phone, and finally stopped tracking her schedule. Since she yearned for freedom, I would grant it to her. When I saw the condom, I was struck as if by lightning. I squatted down in disbelief, and when I clearly saw the used condom, my body swayed, and I nearly fell. Ying and I had already spent 2 years in a nominal relationship, so this condom could only mean that she had brought another man home while I was away paying respects to my mother. I hurriedly took out my phone and called Ying. She hung up immediately and sent me a text message. "I told you I was on a business trip. Why are you being so difficult?" I was shaking with anger. Even at this moment, she was still lying. Her assistant, Zhang Shuyuan, had just posted a short video of her celebrating his birthday. In the video, Zhang Shuyuan was making a wish with his eyes closed in front of a birthday cake. After blowing out the candles, Ying grabbed the back of his neck and gave him a deep kiss. The comment section was filled with well wishes for the couple. Today was the 10th anniversary of my mother's death, and Ying had promised to accompany me back home, but once again, she stood me up for Zhang Shuyuan. My grip on the phone tightened, and at this moment, my heart completely turned to ashes. In the 3 years of our marriage, I had never asked anything of her. I knew she was busy with her career, so I tried my best not to trouble her and did my utmost to be her strongest support. Even when she was absent from our wedding 3 years ago due to an international business deal, leaving me to complete the ceremony alone, I didn't blame her one bit. But this time, for the 10th anniversary of my mother's death, I begged her to put aside her work temporarily and accompany me home. At first, she complained that she was too busy and couldn't get away, but seeing how pitiful I was, she finally compromised on the condition that we had to return to the city the same day. Before leaving, I repeatedly confirmed with her whether she could depart on time, and she assured me there would be no problem. But when the time came, she was nowhere to be found, leaving only a sticky note, "Urgent business trip. Can't go home with you. Be safe on the road." I was devastated for a long time, but considering she was a strong career woman and it was normal for her to be busy, I quickly composed myself and sent her a text message reminding her to eat well. Thinking about my past self, I couldn't help but find it laughable. Idly thinking of her, she was having a passionate affair with another man. I sat dumbfounded beside the trash can. From dusk till dawn, at daybreak, the sound of the password lock echoed from the front door. I stiffly looked towards the entrance. Ying was startled when she saw me. She clutched her chest, then frowned at me. "Swan, why didn't you tell me you were coming back? What are you doing here? Trying to scare me to death?" Seeing that I wasn't speaking, Ying suppressed her impatience and said, "Al, didn't you say you were going to stay with Dad in our hometown for a few days? Why did you come back so suddenly? Is Dad okay?" I sneered inwardly. She probably brought a man home thinking I wouldn't be back. It was admirable that she could still remember my father since my mother passed away. My father's health had been poor. I had tried many times to bring him to live with us, but he always refused. Ying was relieved when she heard about his refusal this time. I had planned to stay a few days to keep my father company, but he insisted he was in good health, told me to take care of Ying, and practically chased me out. Ying squatted down and looked at me gently. "Why aren't you talking? What are you doing sitting here?" I stared at her beautiful face and suddenly felt a sense of unfamiliarity. I pointed to the object in the trash can and asked calmly, "What is this?" She followed my gaze to the trash can, and her face changed drastically when she saw the condom. She frantically pulled out the trash bag and threw it towards the door. "Ying Chio is really out of line. I was away on a business trip last night, and she insisted on staying over. I didn't expect her to bring her boyfriend," she said indignantly, but her darting eyes never met mine. I noticed the hickeys on her collarbone and suddenly chuckled softly. I couldn't help but admire how quickly Ying's mind worked, pinning this on her cousin. My laughter made Ying feel uneasy, and she said awkwardly, "Swan." I nodded and reached out to her. "What?" she asked, puzzled. "Give me your phone." I'll message your cousin and tell her that next time she brings her boyfriend over, she doesn't have to pick a time when I'm not here, I said with a smile, beckoning her. Yi Qingying instinctively clutched her bag, and her voice trembled slightly as she said, "No, it's okay. I'll talk to Chino in person when I get the chance." I nodded in agreement with her suggestion. Yi Qingying avoided my gaze, abruptly stood up, and walked to the bedside table. She took out a beautifully wrapped gift box. After thinking for a moment, she turned to me and said, "Swan, yesterday I met a client during my business trip and forgot to give you the gift I prepared earlier. I need to go out again. I bought the Chishi Festival gift I promised you. It's on the bed. Side table, open it and see if you like it without waiting for my answer." She fled the scene. Chapter 2. If it were the past, I would have been happy for days to receive a gift from her, but now I didn't feel any excitement at all. I patted my stiff thigh, moved to the bedside table, and picked up the gift that didn't even have any packaging. It was a very ordinary thin silver chain, and when I looked closely, I found that the clasp was broken. I lowered my eyes and smiled bitterly, but my gaze swept over a receipt in the bedside table. I picked it up, and a chill instantly enveloped me. Yi Qingying was truly a master liar. She had bought 2 couples bracelets worth 6 figures, and what she gave me was just the cheapest free gift. Because I have a habit of running, I pestered her for a long time to get me an electronic watch to record my data, and she finally agreed to give it to me as a Kai Festival gift. But now, she not only forgot her promise to me but also threw the most broken thing from the free gifts at me. Was she really going to give the couple's bracelets she bought to a client? I already knew the answer, but I still masochistically chased after her in the direction she had just left. In the morning light, Yingying was attentively putting the bracelet on Jiang Su Yuan's wrist. Half of her face was hidden in the warm light, and the faint halo coated her with a soft glow. Jiang Su Yuan was holding the gift box, lowering his eyes and gazing at her tenderly. I couldn't help but sigh. How romantic! I watched them silently, and Jiang Su Yuan was the first to notice my presence. He was stunned at first, then very naturally took Yingying's hand, his eyes looking at her, but his peripheral vision glancing at me. "Thank you, Qingying. I really like the gift you gave me." "As long as you like it. You don't know how long I spent picking out the bracelet that suits you best." Yi Qingying hugged him, acting like a spoiled child. "My dear, you've worked hard." Jiang Su affectionately pinched Yi Qingying's nose. Yi Qingying raised her face to him with a little pride. I really couldn't hold back, and I started to applaud. What a loving couple. Yingying heard my voice and suddenly let go of Jiang Su Yuan, put her hands behind her back, and walked towards me with a forced smile. "San, why are you down?" She wanted to hug my arm, but I quietly avoided her. Yi Qingying's hands froze in midair, and she explained to me somewhat helplessly, "San, did you see something you misunderstood?" I interrupted her with a calm smile on my face, but my voice was unusually cold. "You just gave the gift for your client to your little lover, San." Yi Qingying suddenly widened her eyes and called me in disbelief. I raised my eyebrows at her. Jiang Su quickly came over, protectively embraced her, and roared at me displeased, "Brother Yin, you scared Qingying." I looked at the well-matched pair and shrugged indifferently. Yingying came back to her senses and pushed Jiang Su Yuan away, clinging to my arm regardless, and said, "I had a cry, and you misunderstood. Shun and I are just colleagues." "Oh, is that so?" I didn't push her away anymore. I looked at Jiang Su with a playful expression, enduring the discomfort when he heard Yi Qing's words. He clenched his fists, his eyes full of jealousy. I smiled and said to Yi Qing, "Silly, I was joking. Of course, I know you were colleagues. Okay, don't cry. It's the weekend. Since we're all here, let's go home and have a meal together." I didn't bother to look at the two's reactions and turned to go upstairs first. In a place where the two couldn't see, I finally didn't have to force a smile anymore. I was sitting on the sofa, playing with my phone when the two finally arrived at the door. As soon as she entered, Yingying hurriedly said, "San, I suddenly remembered that there is a contract that needs to be verified at the company. Shun has to rush back to the company." She pushed the reluctant Jiang Shu in, and I also stood up. "He didn't drive here, right? I'll take him. It'll be faster. I've had a cook come over. A quick trip won't delay lunch." Yi Qing's face stiffened, looking awkward. I walked over and asked insincerely, "What's wrong?" "Let's go." "No need. The contract has already been verified." Qing remembered wrong. Zhang Xuan glanced at her and took the initiative to explain. I nodded. "Oh, Qing, you almost made Shun make a wasted trip. You're not doing a good job as a leader. Then you'll be punished to host and personally cook for Shun tonight." I deliberately kept Zhang Shun here after discovering Wei Qing's affair. I was indeed flustered and heartbroken for a while, but after calming down, I felt it didn't matter anymore. She had been distant from me for a long time, and I had actually prepared myself for the possibility that she no longer loved me. It's just that before I discovered the clues of her affair, I was still willing to try to mend our relationship. But now that she's blatantly sleeping with her lover in our marital bed, it's simply unforgivable. Since we got married, I've faded out of the company, and now the initiative is in Ying's hands. Instead of waiting for Wei Qing to kick me out, it's better for me to take the initiative and collect evidence of her affair to fight for my best interests. At the dinner table, Zhang Ziyan always intentionally or unintentionally mentioned the trash can in the bedroom, but each time Wei Qing changed the subject. I looked at Ying's flustered attempts to cover up and found it really funny. Since she chose to sleep with him in our home, was she still afraid of me knowing? Zhang Xin deliberately interacted sweetly with Wei Qing in front of me, glancing at me triumphantly from time to time. I pretended not to see it, lowered my head, and focused on eating. I never felt the day was so long. After dinner, in order to keep them both, I used all my tricks. Finally, at midnight, I took a deep breath and went to the guest room, leaving the two alone. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. Melatonin, and I'm a little sleepy. You guys should rest early too. But as soon as I entered the bedroom, Yi Qinging followed me. She closed the door and started to take off her clothes. I was so scared that I jumped off the bed and quickly stopped her. "What are you doing? There are outsiders in the house." She stopped and looked at me. I rubbed her long hair as usual. "Go watch a movie with Shu. I just bought the latest projector. The sound effect is great." After hearing my words, Yi Qinging happily went out, looking back with no intention of staying for me. My heart still stung a little. I had carefully selected that projector, originally planning to watch a romantic drama with Yi Qinging, but now it didn't matter. The night gradually grew heavier, and I looked at the stars through the white gauze curtains, with Yi Qinging's suppressed moans in my ears, accompanied by the background music of a horror movie. Zhang Xian breathed heavily, the terrifying sounds were drowned out by the heat, and Yi Qinging's low sobs sounded in my ears. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I couldn't get rid of the image of Yi Qinging's shy look when she was in love, but now it belonged to another man. The hidden camera in the house had already recorded all the evidence. I should have been happy, but why couldn't I smile? I sat up and leaned against the headboard, sitting there all night. Early morning, Yi Qinging came in, smiling and wishing me good morning, but her smile faltered when she saw my bloodshot eyes. "San, you didn't sleep all night?" I looked at her and answered flatly, "Yes, I didn't sleep. I heard everything." So I stared at her, enunciating each word. "Yi Qinging, let's get a divorce." Yi Qinging froze, her brow furrowed as she stared at me in disbelief. She couldn't believe the word divorce had come out of my mouth. It was as if she was trying to see through me, to peer into my very soul. After all, our relationship had always been one where she held the power. I loved her with every fiber of my being. I would have given up everything for her. I would have gone to the ends of the earth for her. That's why I begged her so many times not to leave me, pleaded with her to promise she'd always love me. That's why she was so fearless, so confident. Every time she hurt me, all she had to do was threaten divorce, and she knew I'd cave. Not only would I back down, I'd beg her to take it back. It had been this way for years. "Yi Qinging, I've already drafted the divorce papers. Sign them." I spoke calmly, my heart strangely still as I looked at the woman I had once loved so desperately. Her gaze drifted past me to the nightstand. Her fists slowly clenched. "Susani," she said, her voice serious, "you really want a divorce?" "Yes, I've already signed. Just sign them and let's not waste each other's time." "Why?" I laughed. She really wouldn't give up until the very end. "Yi Qinging, your act is over. You really think I don't know that your condom wasn't yours and his? Since you love him so much, I stepped aside. A flicker of panic crossed her face, quickly replaced by a defiant air. So what? You weren't home. It was just a moment of weakness. You promised you'd go home with me to visit my mother's grave, but you lied and said you were on a business trip. You wouldn't let me touch you, claiming you were saving yourself for Jiang Xuan. But now you're saying it was just because I wasn't home. I calmly pointed out each of her lies. Yi Qinging, is there anyone more shameless than you? My words hit their mark. She flew into a rage, then looked at me with disdain. Swan, you think you can maintain this lifestyle without me? You've been out of touch with the real world for so long. Forget finding a job, you'll struggle to even feed yourself. Are you planning to go back and leech off your 80-year-old father? Her words were sharp, cutting. After all these years together, it was like I was truly seeing her for the first time. I might not have graduated from an Ivy League school, but I certainly wasn't uneducated. I'd earned quite a few certifications in college, thanks to my wide range of interests. It was only after we got married that I chose a simpler life to take care of her. That's none of your concern. Just sign the papers. Seeing I wasn't backing down, her anger flared. You think you're getting a divorce? Dream on. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I picked up the divorce agreement and locked it in the cabinet. I knew it wouldn't be this easy. She was used to having me as her unpaid housekeeper and wouldn't let me go easily. Since she thought so little of me, I would show her just how well I could live without her. I wouldn't let her condescending words get to me anymore. When we first met, I was one of the most popular guys on campus, outgoing, cheerful, with a good sense of style. But she complained I dressed too well, afraid other girls would steal me. Don't dress so handsomely, she'd say. You're mine. Because I loved her, I did what she wanted, and it went on for years, all for her so-called sense of security. I used to worry about her being tired from work and never spent a dime on myself. Now I wanted to live for myself. I drove to the mall, bought myself a new wardrobe, and then headed to the dive center. I just parked when my college junior, Hugh, greeted me at the door. Senior. Long time no see. You finally decided to come out of hiding. I smiled. Circumstances, you know. I'm grateful you're giving me a chance to work here as a diving instructor, especially after everything. Don't mention it. With your looks, I'm hoping you'll attract more female students. We both laughed. Shushu and I had met in college through our shared love of diving and bonded over our dreams of diving the Great Barrier Reef. But after I got involved with Yi Qinging, I cut off contact with Shushu, even though we were just friends. Yet Yi Qinging remained suspicious, and I ended up deleting Shushu's contact information. After graduation, Shushu opened a dive center and was doing quite well. I connected with her through a mutual friend. I was hesitant to reach out, but Shushu was incredibly generous, offering me a great position as soon as she heard I was looking for work. Since I hadn't dived in a while, Shushu signed me to the beginner area to get back into the swing of things. I had just put on my gear when I saw Yi Qinging. She was sitting in the lounge area, chatting and laughing with Jiang Xuyuan, who was wearing nothing but swim trunks. Her smile reached her ears, then she saw me and her smile froze. Seeing me in my full diving gear, she hurried over. Who are you planning on showing off to, dressed like that? I looked down at my completely concealing wetsuit and rolled my eyes. Su Yuan followed her, his voice laced with sarcasm. Fancy meeting you here, San. Didn't expect to see a house husband like you at a dive center. It's not exactly cheap, you know. I didn't reply, my eyes fixed on the ring on his finger. It was a high-end piece from a niche brand. I'd seen it in Xing's online shopping cart a long time ago and foolishly thought it was for me. Now it was on Jiang Xuyuan's ring finger. A fitting symbol indeed. It seemed things were getting serious between them. Senior, how's it going? Feeling like your college days again? Maybe I should pretend to be a new student so you can practice on me, Shushu said, walking towards me in her wetsuit. What, you're working here as a diving instructor? Jiang Xuan asked incredulously. Isn't it obvious? He's going to be our star INR instructor, Shushu replied proudly. San, you spend all your time in the kitchen. What can you teach anyone about diving? Did you buy your certification? Zhang Xuan sneered. Even if I did, what's it to you? Why don't you pay for a lesson, Zhang Xuan, and I'll show you what I can do. Don't be sour just because you're jealous. Jiang Su Yuan's face turned purple. Yi Qingying frowned at me. I was annoyed, so I pulled Shu Shu and quickly left, taking her into the water. After diving around, Shu Shu praised me. Senior, you're a natural talent for this line of work. For the first time, I felt truly happy, relying on my own hands to live. This feeling is really good. After the trial training ended, Shu Shu saw me to the parking lot and suggested we have dinner together. I was about to answer when Yi Qingying grabbed my arm. She demonstratively said to Shu Shu in a cold voice, "No need to trouble yourself. We, as husband and wife, will eat at home." She emphasized the words husband and wife, and I frowned unconsciously. Yi Qingying stuffed me into a black SUV. As soon as I sat down, I smelled the scent of soap berries. It's a new car. I haven't had time to air it out yet, Ying explained, blushing. A car worth over $1 million needs to be aired out? I sneered, not bothering to expose her. You dragged me here. Isn't Zhang Xuan jealous? I rested my elbow on the car window and looked at her teasingly. Su-san, that's enough. Ying was a little angry, then sighed and softened her tone. I was wrong to quarrel with you. I did something wrong. I won't make excuses, but I promise you from now on I'll break up with him. Let's live well together from now on, okay? If she had said these words last night, I might have believed her a little, but today I wouldn't believe a single word. No, I've already signed a divorce agreement. It's just waiting for your signature. If you're really having a hard time, I won't force you. Then we'll see each other in court. Ying's hands on the steering wheel instantly tightened, and her face turned gloomy. Swan, my patience is limited. I've already lowered myself to coax you. What more do you want? Don't think that getting a job as a coach is a big deal. You need to learn to be restrained. I sneered. Yucking, I really have nothing to say to you. I forced her to stop the car and took a taxi straight to a 5-star hotel. I sent the video evidence of Ying's affair to my college roommate, Du. After hearing about what happened to me, he was furious and vowed, "Sign, don't worry. I'll make sure this cheating woman goes bankrupt." Thank you. Hearing his indignant loud voice, I rubbed my temples with a headache. After another failed conversation with Yucking, she hadn't contacted me for a long time, but Zhang Xian's social media clearly recorded the details of their relationship. Ying unexpectedly put down her work and accompanied him on travels all over the country. The two were like a couple deeply in love, eating and living together, enjoying themselves. I didn't feel any sadness when I saw it. Instead, I was enthusiastically making plans. When I was financially independent, I would also go on a free trip. I lived the life I wanted, going from home to work every day, carefree and leisurely. Just when I was about to forget about Yucking's existence, I ran into her again at a college classmate's wedding. Yucking was dressed up that day. One might think she was the bride. Zhang Xian followed behind her. I glanced at him and saw that he was wearing the outfit Ying gave me when we got married. Ying also saw me, her eyes fixed on me, and I frowned uncomfortably. Zhang Xiu excitedly took Yucking's arm and walked towards me. Brother Yin, I heard that you and Yucking are going to file for divorce. You don't mind me accompanying Yucking to the wedding, right? Whatever you like, I said indifferently, took the gift and got up to leave. Swan, I thought you were just throwing a tantrum. Are you really playing with me? Yucking followed, grabbing my arm to stop me from leaving. I roughly shook her off. You two are in love. I'm making way for him. Shouldn't you be happy? Ying was taken aback, staring at me in anger. Brother Yin, I forgot to tell you, Yucking is already pregnant with our child. Seeing Yucking and me pulling at each other, Zhang Xiu's sense of crisis exploded, and he quickly came over and put his arm around Ying's waist demonstratively. Shut up! Yucking snapped at him fiercely. I glanced at Ying's flat stomach and said with a smile, "Congratulations. I had once hoped that a small life belonging to me and Yi Qingying would be born into our home, but my hopes were dashed again and again. In the end, Yi Qingying simply decided to end our marital life on her own. Now that she's pregnant with someone else's child, I'm not only not sad, but I'm also very happy with the existence of this child. The property I get from the divorce will be even more substantial. The wedding began on stage. The newlyweds exchanged vows, and the ring slowly slid onto the bride's ring finger. Looking at this scene, I recalled my one-man show wedding with Ying. At that time, I really hoped that she could put down her company business for me and hold the wedding that I had been looking forward to for a long time. But even though she knew my expectations, she still took off her wedding dress and left without looking back. "Sine, we can have another wedding if you want." Yi Qinging quietly approached me and leaned on my shoulder. I jerked away. "Yi Qinging, get away from me. I find you disgusting." Yi Qinging froze in place, looking at me with watery eyes. "I'm so angry. If I knew I would run into you, I wouldn't have come today." I stared at her and said angrily, then turned and left without looking back. "San, wait for me." Ying ran after me. She stopped me and hugged my waist tightly. "San, what's wrong with you? Do you really not care about me anymore? Did you see the wedding dress I'm wearing today? I knew you would come today. I wore it especially for you." She was crying miserably in my arms, her delicate makeup smudged. Hearing her words, I pushed her away forcefully and frowned instinctively. "Why should I care about you? You, Yi Qinging, you're crying so sadly. Do you really think of yourself as the victim in this relationship? Wearing a wedding dress to someone else's wedding, you're really disgusting." "San, how can you say that to me?" She looked at me with teary eyes. "Then what should I say?" "I wish you and Zhang Shuyuan a happy marriage and 2 children in 1 pregnancy." "San, don't be like this to me," Yi Qinging shook her head, crying. "I was with Zhang Shu just to prove that you still love me." I was really shocked. How could she say such a lack of self-respect in such a high-sounding way? Does she really think that after seeing her being intimate with another man, I would still cry and beg her not to abandon me like before? How ridiculous! Yi Qinging, there's really no need. You don't have to go through all this. I really don't care anymore. You should take good care of your pregnancy, all right? A classmate of mine has a postpartum center. If you need it, I can refer you. Mention me and you'll get a 20% discount. I said this and turned to leave. Yi Qinging shamelessly clung to me again, hugging me and sobbing uncontrollably. Honestly, it would be unrealistic to say that I'm not moved by her regretful crying. If it were before, I would definitely hug her and comfort her carefully. But now, the disgust in my heart far outweighs the little pity I have left for her. I let her hug me. Dee said calmly, "Yi Qinging, since you regret it, why did you cheat in the first place?" She trembled in my arms until Zhang Xiu chased after us and pulled her away. Only then was I able to get away. "Su Sini, don't be so smug. Qing already has our child. You'll be kicked out soon." I glanced at the furious Zhang Xiu, speechless. "Then you should persuade Yi Qinging to sign quickly. Otherwise, I can only sue." Chapter 5. Another half a month flew by. Just when I thought Yi Qinging would sign, she appeared before me again. That day, after work, I was walking to the parking lot, chatting and laughing with his Shu when I looked up and saw Yi Qinging waiting in front of my car. Our eyes met, and my expression immediately turned cold. "Yi Qinging, I hope you're here today to bring me good news." Yi Qinging kept glancing at his Shu, biting her lip and looking very aggrieved. "Senan, let's talk in private. I have something very important to tell you." "You have something important to tell me? Shouldn't important things be said to Zhang Shu?" I said sarcastically. She said with a sob, "Senan, I'm sorry. I'll pay more attention to you in the future." I still decided to go with Yi Qinging. We had been married for many years, and she had always been cold and indifferent to me. We had even reached the point of divorce, so I wanted to see what trick she had up her sleeve. Yi Qinging, wanting to show off, insisted on driving. I wasn't in the mood to fight with her for the driver's seat, so I sat in the back and scrolled through my phone. Yi Qinging looked at me through the rear-view mirror, hesitating to speak. "Spit it out, Senan. Why aren't you fighting to be my driver anymore?" Look at what she said. It just shows how lowly I used to be. I used to be her dedicated lapdog, and she didn't cherish it. I cared for her wholeheartedly, worried if she was cold or hot. I practically chewed her food and fed it to her. Now, just because I didn't drive, she had something to say. I put on my earphones and ignored her. Yi Qinging started the engine, tears welling up in her eyes. Yi Qinging took me to a restaurant that I had mentioned wanting to try many times before. As soon as we entered, she hugged me. "Senan, today is our 3rd wedding anniversary. I specially booked this restaurant for you. Are you happy?" I pushed her away in disgust and said, "Yi Qinging, I'm not Jiang Shu. Don't act like this with me." Yi Qinging stumbled back a few steps before regaining her balance, her eyes full of sadness. "Senan, why have you changed? You never used to treat me like this. So you know that was the past. Also, our 3rd anniversary was last month, not today." Yingying's face turned pale when she heard me. She used to care about me a little, and she once swore to spend the rest of her life with me, but now all that's left is a mess. It's time for this marriage to end. It's okay. I remember it this time. I definitely won't forget our 4th wedding anniversary. Don't you like diving? I'll take time off and take you abroad to dive, okay? She wiped away her tears and took out a medical report from her bag. "Senan, look, I've already gotten rid of that bastard child, and this is also for you." She took out a beautifully wrapped gift box and presented it to me like a treasure. "Didn't you want a digital watch? I bought one for you." I opened the box and saw the expensive digital watch inside. I had begged her to get it for me for Valentine's Day, but she pretended not to hear me and casually threw me a broken silver bracelet. I closed the lid and threw it in the trash. "Senan, didn't you beg me to buy this for you for a long time? Why are you doing this? Why are you hurting me?" Yi Qinging hurriedly bent down to pick it up, tears streaming down her face. Expired things should be thrown in the trash, shouldn't they? Yi Qinging understood the meaning behind my words. She looked up at me with teary eyes. She knew better than anyone that she was no longer worthy of my concern. The girl who used to talk to me about everything, who shared dreams of a beautiful future, was gone. In the years after our marriage, she had wholeheartedly devoted herself to the outside world. I looked at her face and couldn't reconcile it with the 20-year-old girl in my memory. "Yi Qinging, let's just end it here. Don't bother me anymore." Yingying's tears burst out. She cried with despair. "Senan, forgive me one more time. I'll change." I opened my mouth to speak, but her phone rang, breaking the oppressive atmosphere. She took out her phone, and I clearly saw the caller ID, peaceful and far-reaching. I laughed out loud. Peaceful and far-reaching. She regarded Jiang Shu as someone who could make her calm, focused, and capable of achieving great things. How nice. Yingying hesitated for a moment, but still answered the call. The sound of rushing wind came from the other end of the line. "Yi Qinging, where are you? Don't do anything stupid. I'll come right away." She looked at me apologetically. "Senan, Shuan is having a moment. I can't just watch him do something stupid. Wait for me. I'll be right back." I nodded. "Go ahead. Wait for me." With those words, Yingying hurried out. I didn't wait for her, but I didn't leave either. I left the private room Yingying had booked and went back to the main dining area. "See Yin, over here." Yushu waved to me from a table by the window. I walked over with a smile. "What a coincidence." "Not a coincidence. I followed you guys here on purpose." I looked up into her eyes and then quickly looked away. "Chush, don't make jokes like that." "Ah, just kidding. I'm a regular here. I come here for a big meal every few days." Just as we were finishing our meal, Yingying entered the restaurant with a haggard-looking Jiang Shu Yuan. Seeing me, Yingying immediately let go of Jiang Shu Yuan's hand and walked towards me. "Senan, listen to me. Sean was feeling down, so I thought I'd bring him here for a meal. I didn't mean to not tell you beforehand." She spoke incoherently, and I nodded cooperatively. "It's fine. You had our child aborted without telling me, so you should apologize to him. We're getting a divorce. You didn't need to report to me before, and you definitely don't need to now." I smiled sincerely. "I really don't mind. Ningo, you're really something. You're cheating on Chang with a rich woman and brainwashing her into aborting our child. How could you be so vicious? Jiang Xuan rushed towards me like a madman. Yi Qinging slapped him hard. Shut up. Then she looked at me and Isushi with a hostile expression. Is it because of her that you insist on divorcing me? I chuckled. Yi Qinging, you're so dirty-minded. You see everything as dirty. Qinging, I told you he's not worth it. He's not answering directly because he's guilty. Jiang Shuing glared at me resentfully. Ying angrily raised her hand to hit Isushi. I stopped Ying and slapped her back. Then I took Isushi's hand and raised it in a show of defiance. You're right, I'm with Isushi now. What are you going to do about it? Yi Qinging was so angry that she flipped the table. I shielded Isushi and walked out of the restaurant. Shoo, I'm sorry. I let go of Isushi's hand and scratched my head awkwardly. It's okay, it was actually quite fun to help you deal with those two scumbags. She blushed slightly and looked down at her toes. I smiled helplessly. That night, just as I was lying down, I received a call from Ying. I hung up, and she called again. After several attempts, I was wide awake and sat up in anger. As soon as I answered, I heard the sound of wind. Yi Qinging said with a drunken slur, Sen-in, I'm on the rooftop of our house looking at the stars. The stars are so beautiful tonight. Do you think I'll really become a star if I jump? I got up, put on a coat, and rushed to her place, but I was still furious. I knew Ying was shameless, but I didn't know she was this shameless, copying Jiang Shu Yuan's suicide threat. When I arrived, Yi Qinging already had 1 foot over the edge. Don't move. My heart leaped into my throat as I rushed over and pulled her back. As we fell to the ground, Ying suddenly started laughing softly. Her laughter turned into a cry, her voice full of despair. Senan, let's start over, okay? Don't leave me and be with someone else. Yi Qinging, you're overreacting. It's my freedom to be with whoever I want. You have no right to interfere. I pushed her away, stood up, and brushed off the dust. Yi Qinging, I really don't understand you. You love Jiang Shu Yuan so much. Why are you still clinging to me? She looked at me obsessively, tears streaming down her face. It's not like that, Senan. I've always loved you. I was just blinded by lust and did something I shouldn't have. I really know I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? It's too late. What's the point of forgiving you? We can't go back, Yi Qinging. I looked at her crying face calmly, without a trace of emotion. She cried as if she wanted to shed all the tears of her life, curling up and sobbing uncontrollably. Senan, I know you don't believe me anymore, but I really regretted it after I cheated. I comforted myself that it was just this. Once that you wouldn't find out and that I would return to our family and be a good wife to you, but she couldn't continue. Her voice was replaced by sorrowful sobs. So since you made a mistake, just keep going. I really don't care anymore. As I turned to leave, I said my last words to her, Why Qinging, don't use these tricks to test my sincerity again. Next time, I'll call the police to collect your body. After that day, I lost contact with Wai Qinging, but I received anonymous postcards. The scenery on them was of various diving spots around the world. I casually tucked the postcards into a book and continued my routine life until the court called me to inform me of the hearing date. On the same day I received the call, I saw Wai Qinging, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. She had lost weight, and her sallow complexion indicated that her health was failing. But I just glanced at her and walked past. Soon, this is for you, she didn't chase after me. She just spoke softly behind me. Soon, I'm setting you free. I took the divorce agreement she had signed, looked through the contents, and was shocked. You're giving me all the company shares and all your assets? Yes, it's all yours, she smiled at me peacefully, looked at me deeply for a moment, and then left. I looked at her receding figure and felt like something was about to happen. The day after I received the divorce certificate, I received news from Jiang Suin that Wai Qinging had died of lung cancer. Qinging asked me to tell you, Suin, she's sorry. She loved you very much. Jiang Suin swallowed hard, his voice choked with sobs. She also asked me to tell you not to feel burdened. Her diagnosis of late-stage lung cancer was her retribution. You don't need to attend her funeral, Okay? I gripped my phone tightly and answered softly. Just when I thought Jiang Suan wouldn't speak again, he said, Su-in, I'm not convinced. In the next life, I'll definitely meet Qinging before you do. Then I wish you all the best in advance. Only the busy tone remained on the phone. I suppressed the last bit of nostalgic tears and raised my beer to toast to freedom.